Hi, I'm Christina Heideck with PTO Answers, and today we're kind of going to be stepping into the middle of it, and I struggled to come up with like a great title that kind of actually tells you what this video is about without seeming super boring. I don't know why that is, but basically we're going to be talking about like how you can advocate for your child without kind of stepping in it if you're also a PTO leader, right? So this is kind of a complicated topic only because when you are a PTO leader in your child's school, you're wearing multiple hats, and what your mission and goals are as a PTO leader do overlap with what your goals are for your child, but sometimes not always. Like sometimes what's in the best interest of the PTO is not in the best interest of your child, and vice versa. And you really have to get into the specifics of it all, but I hope you kind of understand what I'm talking about. So the whole idea for this video came up because more than one time, actually, I've seen questions in the PTO Superstar Leader group come up about like, well, how do you address issues that are issues with the school or maybe with your child, but you're also a PTO leader? Like, do you need to step down as a leader? So I'll just get that one right out of the way right at the beginning. Of course, you do not need to step down as a PTO leader to bring up or get an issue with your child resolved. That's kind of silly. I think it just, you are not violating your responsibilities as a PTO leader when you advocate for your own child. Okay, so if you were only ever advocating for your own child, well then yes, we have a problem, my dear, and you need to step aside because really in your role as a PTO leader, you're really supposed to be advocating for all of the kids and usually like the least of the kids. So like kids that have nothing, like that's who you should be focusing on, and you should try not to be leaving anybody behind. But you definitely can advocate for both your child as a PTO leader. I've stepped in very sticky situations in the past, and it kind of like how you handle it really depends on the situation. So you have to do it smartly. And the first thing I recommend, and I learned this from one of my PTA mentors, I've always followed her in my PTA position. So like she'll be president and then I'll follow her afterwards. Like it's always worked like this now for 3 schools, I think, 2 or 3 schools. So it's kind of funny, but she is my PTA goddess. And so I always look to her. She has even more hats than I as a PTA leader and a parent, because she's also a board member. So she's a school board member. So that's just like a whole another ball of wax. And so I've learned by watching her at just like hat management. So if there's an issue that comes up, and it doesn't matter if it's for your child or your PTO, it doesn't matter. You just have to be real clear about what hat you're wearing. And so sometimes when things have come up, I am just very specific in talking with the superintendent, and I'll even like write out, I've got my parent hat on right now. So it makes it clear that you are not representing this as like the position of the PTO, like whatever you want done, or whatever issue you're raising, but that it is your personal issue. And likewise, when there is a PTO issue that I feel very strongly about, well, then I make sure to send out the email under my PTO email address, and I sign my official title, like whatever the role that might be. Like there was kind of a big issue that came up recently with my PTA where I'm trying to say this without like getting everybody into hot water, but basically somebody had said something, a district employee had said something, or I don't even know how I want to say this. Sorry, it's really tricky. I should have thought this one through a little bit more. But basically, there's a really sticky situation. I guess that's what you really need to know. And so I needed to make it clear that I was very unhappy about the situation and the resolution that I wanted. So I just had to come out and be blunt about it, but it was part of the reason why I felt comfortable talking to the superintendent about this issue was just because of the relationship that I formed with her. And I've always been really honest with her about things. And she's even said, like, I know you're going to tell it to me straight. Like, you will tell me how you are feeling. I will know. And so I think that's just kind of how you have to be in order to have a positive reception with people. I think that's generally like good life advice, but I think you just have to make it like super clear, you know, like I said, what hat you're wearing. And you also always have to be respectful, always give people the benefit of the doubt, but you also have to be like, you have to be choosy about which battles you're picking. Like, you can't be that pain in the butt parent who complains about everything. So like, I know this surprises you not, but like, I have a lot of opinions about things, about how I think things should be run. Do I always express those opinions to the principals or the superintendent? No, because like, that's not the way to do it. You cannot be doing it yourself, because they're eventually gonna, like, you'll turn into the Peanuts adults, right? Where you just go, wah, 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 wah. They're gonna tune you out. So I've really learned to try and pick my battles, but there have been very big issues that have come up over the past couple of years. For example, in the upper elementary school a couple of years ago, they wanted to get rid of, well, it's all how you phrase it, right? But they wanted to reduce how many encores a year each kid was going to have. So they wanted to have just one encore. That means one special, one like art, music, library, or STEM lab. I think those were the choices. One per semester. And I was like, that does not make me happy. So what I did, instead of raising the issue myself, I took the information and I told a small group of friends and fellow PTA members, and I said, this is what's going on. Well, one of them, she took that banner up and started running with it, and she actually was instrumental in making sure that that plan was changed. The district immediately was like, whoa, there's a bunch of feelings about this, and we need to recalibrate how we're going to do this. And so it was changed as a direct result of me communicating to that small group of parents, okay? Because that's kind of what set everything off. So I'm telling you that because maybe you're not always the one who needs to bring up the issue. Maybe you can get it resolved another way. So look at your network. Like, all the PTA members and PTO members, we're all in this together, and people might have different opinions about how to have it resolved, but you certainly should draw upon that network and don't feel like you're alone. And I'm telling you this because I never think it's a good idea to sit on something that you think needs to be changed just because you're a PTO leader. Like, I think it doesn't disqualify you, and it makes me sad to think that some people would think that that disqualifies them, or they shouldn't bring things up because they don't want, what if they need a favor from somebody, or, you know, special consideration further down the road. I think that's like super sad. In fact, I think it makes you more qualified because you kind of probably know more about what's going on than other parents. Like, usually that's what I found, is like other parents have no idea what's going on, and they're like, you know, you get together at a birthday party, you know, pre-COVID, of course, and you're talking about what's going on at school, and other parents are like, how do you know all this? And you're like, well, I'm involved in the PTA. And they're like, oh, maybe I should come to meetings. Yeah, maybe you should, because you'd know. So like, I think it makes you more qualified because you know more of what's going on. But I guess I just wanted to give you some confidence. If you need to address an issue, you definitely should. Just like I said, be respectful, be really clear about what hat you're wearing, and don't be that parent that's always complaining. You know, come up with solutions and pick your battles and be smart about it. So I hope that is helpful for you and gives you a little more confidence because their issues are going to come up, and we have to learn how to deal with them appropriately. But it doesn't, resolving an issue that's happening with your child does not require you to resign your position in the PTO. So I hope that clears that up, and I will be back again real soon with another topic on news you can use. So I hope you've enjoyed this. If you did, go ahead and like this page or subscribe, depending on what platform you are watching on. And I will be back again with you real soon. Take care until then. Bye-bye.